30 psi is absolutely critical because each one of these check valves, this is the little spinner assembly here, we have our sprinkler spinner on the bottom and right above it is a small check valve. That check valve requires 30 psi to open and to close properly. So when we talk about 50 pounds pressure coming into the manifold, we regulate it to 40, so we know there's 40 leaving the manifold. We then know if there's 40 psi leaving the manifold, there will still be 30 psi at the last check valve at the far end of the house. Okay? And then we get into the actual solenoid valves which operate the system. And I'll talk a little bit more about that once we start talking about the controller. But this is typical of a broiler barn or a broiler house that we have in North America. We have two valves here operating two different ends of the broiler house, or in Canada possibly two different floors. But this is kind of typical of a lot of what we sell into North America. Okay, so here's the sprinkler controller. Now we're going to zoom in on the controller and I'm going to take you through the process of setting up the parameters. And as I said earlier, just as if you just took it out of your box and hung it on the wall, or you had it on a counter, you're trying to set it up. Okay. Now let's zoom in and let's program this controller as if it was taken right out of the box. Okay, the controller is made up of basically two different sides when it comes to adjustments. The controls on the left are an up and down arrow, and it says list underneath, and that's exactly what it is. It's a list which starts with the clock at the top, and then you scroll down that list and eventually come back to the clock once you've gone through all the parameters. Adjustments are made on the right side using the plus and minus key. Okay, so the first parameter at the top of the list is the clock, and it says to set, hold plus minus for 2 seconds. So it pretty much tells you in this window what you need to do to make an adjustment. Okay, so if we hold the plus minus for 2 seconds, just like it tells us, you'll see that the minute starts to flash. So if we wanted to decrease or increase the minutes, that's all we have to do using the plus and minus. Now to go over and change the hours, we actually do have to hit the left arrow here to make the hours flash. And this controller is set up in military time, so it's 11:54 a.m., then it's 12:54, then it goes to 13:54, which would be 1:54 p.m. Okay? And we did it that way to make sure that there's never a mistake between AM and PM. So right now, it's approximately 11:54 here, so I'm going to lock that in by holding the plus minus for 2 seconds. And now you see the center dots flash, meaning the time has been locked in. Okay? So that's how you set the clock. Now let's go down to one parameter, and it says system mode. So we have to decide what mode are we going to run this controller in. We have the options of running it in cooling, activity promotion, dust control, or a combination of two of those three. Okay, so right now it's turned off, so to make an adjustment, let's go down and look at it. So the first parameter is dust control mode. The second one is cool mode. Third one is a combination of dust and cooling. The next one is activity promotion. The next one is a combination of activity promotion and cooling, which is what the majority of the broiler houses are in North America. So that's the mode that we want to change it to. Okay? We get on to the next parameter. It says growth day, in days. Well, we have the option here of going back to, if we know the birds are coming in 2 days, we can put that to -2, and it'll automatically move up so that when the birds arrive, it'll be day 1. Or we can say the birds are day 1 today, so let's set it at day 1. Okay? Now it asks us, what day do we want to start cooling? The cool start day in days, and it's flashing 28. So 28 is I believe, a good age to start cooling. So we're going to leave it there. That means that it can become extremely warm inside the poultry house before the birds are 28 days old, and this controller will not move the system into the cooling mode. Okay, the birds have to be 28 days old. Next parameter says activity promotion start day. And on that one, it's flashing 21 days, and I think that's where we want to leave it. And again, you can make a change, whatever you want, using the plus and minus, but let's leave that at 21 days. So that's the age that activity promotion would start. Now it asks us, what time of the day do you want cooling to start? It says hours and minutes. Well, it's set up here for 9 o'clock in the morning, which is, I think, probably a good time to start cooling. Typically, it's not that hot inside of a broiler house before 9 o'clock in the morning. So again, you can make any adjustment you want here to change it to 9, whatever. But we'll set this up for 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Now it says cooling end time. That says 11:01 p.m. Okay, and the reason that there's an 01 there, and I set that purposely because there's 11 o'clock, but I changed it to 11:01, meaning the last time the sprinklers are going to run is 11 o'clock, and then 1 minute after 11, the system shuts off. If I had that set at 2300, it would actually shut off at 11 o'clock and it wouldn't run. So that just ensures that the last time it's going to run is at 11 o'clock at night. Now it asks the activity start time, hours and minutes. Well, let's set that for 10 o'clock in the morning. That's when activity promotion will start for the very first time. And activity promotion is going to end at 5:01, which really means 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay? And we're actually going to set up activity promotion for 1 time per hour. So from 10 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's 8 times a day that it would run for activity promotion. Okay? Room temperature, we have a temperature sensor in each end of the broiler house, or in a 2-story broiler house application, there would be 1 sensor on each floor. And we only have 1 temperature probe hooked up to this demonstration unit here, and it's showing the temperature in this room right here is 73.8 degrees. Okay, the main set point now is 86 degrees for cooling. Okay, so we now know that the birds have to be 28 days old. We already put that in there. Between the hours of 9 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock at night, provided it hits 86 degrees Fahrenheit, it'll now move into the cool mode. So all those parameters have to be answered before it'll actually move into cooling. Okay, so now let's say it hits 86 degrees in there and the birds are older than 28 days old and it's between 9 a.m. and 11 at night. What's going to happen is the sprinklers are going to run. The run time level 1 in seconds is 20 seconds. So they're going to come on as soon as it hits that temperature and run for 20 seconds every 30 minutes. Okay, I went down to the next parameter which says idle time level 1 in minutes. That's 30 minutes. So if it gets to 86 degrees, it's going to run 20 seconds every 30 minutes. Okay, now we've got a second level of cooling. It says relative set point level 2. We set that at 4 degrees. That means 4 degrees above the first set point, which was 86 degrees, or 90 degrees. Okay, we get our second level of cooling. If it gets to 90 in there, it's going to run 20 seconds every 15 minutes, or 4 times per hour. Okay, so now we've moved into a more substantial cool mode. Rather than twice an hour, it's running 4 times an hour, and this is going to give good cooling to the birds.